You are listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not to Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode to be single or not to be. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you have been waiting for. Today's topic is, why are so many sisters so single? And this is a topic that we are revisiting based on an earlier episode where I just touched on the subject matter. On this episode, we are going to dive into part 1 of why we think we are single, what we have to do to not be single, and what we think our brothers have to do in order to step up to the plate to help with us being single. My stance on the matter is that really, women these days are not going to lower our standards or lower our desires just to settle for a man that comes along with minimal effort when we know that the man that we want, desire, and deserve is out there waiting for us. Because of this, I wanted to bring in a few ladies that I felt could add to the conversation. We have a lady here who is single like myself.
Hey, this is Courtney.
Next, we have a lady who is in a relationship.
Hi, this is Nikisha.
And lastly, we have a familiar voice that you all have heard before. She's a married woman.
What's up? This card coming back again.
Yes, ma'am. So based on that, we just really want to dive in. Ladies, why do you think there are so many of us that are single?
Well, this is Courtney, and I feel one of the main reasons why we are still single is our unwillingness to settle.
Absolutely.
A lot of us have great careers. We're traveling. We're not waiting for Aladdin to come around and sweep us off on the carpet and show us the world. You know, we pretty much have everything that we need at our fingertips.
Right.
And so if you're not coming in to complement or enhance what I can already do for myself, then there's no reason for me to entertain you.
Right.
I mean, if we're not going to be better with two, then I can be great by myself. So that's a big piece for me. And then also we have those non-negotiables where I'm not going to settle or kind of stray away from what I expect in my life and from a partner just so that I can say that I have a man.
Yeah, and so many women do that.
Right. And I'm not going to date your potential.
That's a whole nother thing. So let me say this. Based on what you said earlier in regards to us having all the things and not waiting for Aladdin to come in with the carpet, do you think that's intimidating to a man? Do you think that scares men away?
I think that it does, because a lot of men, they don't understand why we may need to take those trips or why we take 3 trips a year. They may say, well, why can't you take 2 trips a year? Or why can't you just take 1 trip a year? Like, why do you have to take 3 trips a year? But if that's what I afford myself and if that's a hobby for me, then that's what I'm going to do. Or if I like to spend this amount of money on whatever hobby that I may have, and you don't understand that, but I'm supposed to understand your shoe habit or
addiction,
you know, whatever fantasy football, you know, and I'm going to help, and not even necessarily help, but support what you do, because that's what you do with your money. Then that's fine, as long as it doesn't impact what we do as a partnership. Then I really don't care.
You can deal with it. So how do you think that's something that we really have to try to work on? Do we diminish ourselves for the man in order to not intimidate him, or do we just wait until we find somebody who can accommodate what it is that you're talking about?
I mean, I think that's based off of the person. I personally will wait for someone to accommodate what I do. Again, I'm not going to just dim my light for you to feel comfortable.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. And I feel like if a man is wanting a strong woman, then you should be able to see in me what I'm able to bring to the table. And if you can bring those same things to the table, we shouldn't have any problems. But
I absolutely agree.
I'm not going to just settle just because.
I
can say I got somebody. Like, no.
I can agree. I definitely felt like before getting married, my biggest fear was losing my independence. Like, the compromising
Why,
part,
though? We say losing your independence. Explain that.
Because marriage is all compromise. It's all about, you know, if your significant other, like, two people are usually not going to work. You
The
definitely have
that
opposite, you know, that's major. And getting together with someone, and I love to travel, my husband not so much. That was a struggle at the beginning, like you said, you know, the understanding why is that important for you,
right?
You know, so you do have to kind of there are some things that you have to compromise on. Not a lot. I do say present your best self for any type of relationship, and fall in love with yourself so that you don't have to compromise on those things.
Right.
So many times when we are preparing for a relationship or we're just jumping into one, we have not taken the time to fall in love with us, so we give up everything. And then you turn around and resent
that person
for making you do that. Hashtag, quote unquote, making
you do that because you
when
thought
in reality, you gave it up willingly.
Yeah, and you thought that was the way to get the man or to keep the man by giving it up.
Or you thought those were things that could be sacrificed and you weren't going to miss them.
Yeah, you would be okay.
Yeah, I'd be all right.
But that's why I guess you have to really know who you are and what those non-negotiables are. And that takes us back there. When you said the non-negotiables, I think that's so important. And I don't think that it's about giving a man an ultimatum or telling him, you have to do these things. But non-negotiables more so are saying, this is where I stand. This is what I believe. And so since you did touch on that, tell us, what's maybe a couple of your non-negotiables?
One of my non-negotiables is I'm extremely career driven.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that, you have to keep promoting, but I do need for you, just as I will, continue to move forward in your career path. Now, if you already hit the ceiling of your career path, then cool. If that was what your goal was, if you're the CEO, great.
Right.
But if you know that you're trying to be the CEO, or that's what you've expressed to me, and those are in your 1 or 3 or 5 year plans, then I want to see you working towards that, because I'm going to work towards it. I know I won't stay in a position no more than 2 years.
Okay.
Then it's time for me to go to the next level. But if I'm talking to you and I'm trying to support you and say, you know what, go for that dream, and you're like, oh man, I'm too old now.
Yeah.
Too old. You're never too old to pursue whatever you're wanting to do.
Right.
So if that's a stopping place for you, then I'm not your person.
It's a stopping place for you too.
Right. I'm not your person.
Right.
Another piece is, like Cara mentioned, I love to travel. If you don't want to see the world, I'm not going to be able to take you with me.
Right.
In any way. Not a relationship, not in traveling the world, none of that. I'm not going to do that. And then another non-negotiable for me is someone who's not able to set roadblocks with their family. And what I mean by that is, with me, I know how to tell my family no in certain circumstances. I also know when to have my family back off in certain things. I'm the firstborn. So, it's a lot of expectations that come from me. But once I start to move my life and to have my own life, you can't have those same requests from me. And sometimes a lot of men will have family members who still kind of control what they do and how they do and how they move.
Especially moms.
Yes.
Hashtag mommy issues.
Yes.
Right.
So if you don't know how to say, hey, mom, I have a relationship now and I'm not going to not be there for you, but I need some time to kind of live my own life, then we can't be together, because I have no problem telling Yolanda.
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to be able to do it.
Right. And I think, it's a no for you, Mom.
It's a hard no.
And I think that says a whole lot, because when it comes to family and friends, I think that we have to be aware of the role that they play in our relationships. And I think we also have to be aware of how it can affect us in our decision making. Because sometimes, say if we happen to get past being single and we get into a relationship, sometimes we want to mirror what we think is happening in our friends' relationships. Sometimes we want to, set this example or be this person that we think is going to be cool to our friends. When in doing that, sometimes it may ruin relationships. Sometimes it may cause for our relationships to not go as far as it could go if we were not doing those things. So I think that makes a lot of sense, that you cannot let your family come in and be the people that make the decisions for you when it comes to your relationship. Say if mom or dad or whoever doesn't like your girlfriend or boyfriend, or doesn't like the person that you're dating, because we're talking about the single epidemic. So say if you have someone that you are dating and you're going to bring them in and you're really waiting for mom and dad to approve this person. You can't do that. If you're waiting for mom and dad to approve this person and you know how awesome this person is and you make the decision that you don't want to date them based on that information, then that's going to be a setup for failure. So I think that that's a huge part too. Friends and family can be great when they are supportive, but you have to know that they are not always going to be supportive. And if you happen to be in that situation, you have to be able to move on without that support.
I always say, vet your support system and their advice the same way you vet a spouse or significant other or someone you're interested in.
Okay, absolutely. That makes
sense.
Full,
you always want to look at the perspective that somebody's coming from, their experience, and where they are in their season when they're giving it to you.
Right.
Because somebody can be going through the worst heartbreak of their life and give you the worst advice because misery loves company.
Right.
Right.
And just be knowledgeable, just really, really pray about everything. Pray for confirmation for all advice that you seek and receive.
Right.
My question is, do you sometimes feel like being comfortable being single, and this is for you, Courtney, that you will get into a mode where you're so comfortable with yourself that it is going to be hard for a man to find a place in your life, in your system that you have set up?
Yes and no, and that's where self-awareness comes in, because I do know that I have been very comfortable in my singledom, if you want to call it that. That is like, what if I have to share my bed with someone? Right. Am I ready to share my bed? Am I ready to come home and see a pillow misplaced? Major.
That matters.
It matters. It's real. It's a real thing that you have to address with yourself and say, am I ready for those things? And in my mind, and I talk about this a lot of the time, is me, I actually love being single. I love that mess. I love it. And for me, you have to be fantastic, absolutely fantastic, for me to want to leave being single to be with you. If you're not offering, like I mentioned before, if you're not enhancing or complimenting what I do, then there's no reason for me to jump into a relationship with you, because I'm not that pressed to be with someone. Right. I mean, eventually, I liked companionship. Yes, that's why we were put here with man and woman, to have companionship. Right. But I'm not going to settle or completely become unhappy just to say I have someone. So, it's definitely just being self-aware. And I do believe that when I do find that one that I'm really interested in,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Not looking for perfection, but fantastic for what I'm looking for. Right. Perfectly imperfect. Then yes, I'll be okay with, we'll have to set expectations about the pillows. But I'll share my bed. I mean, I just want it to be neat. Like, don't have me come back and the sink was clean, and then I come back home and you got a whole sink full of pots and pans.
Beard chips. I was in the bathroom. I say beard chips in the bathroom. In the sink where you shaved your face and you left it. Chips. I get it.
Yeah, like, don't do that. But
I get it.
But that's setting expectations. I mean, and not necessarily expectations of what you want from a person, but just, hey, we're going to live together, so who are you?
Space.
Who are you? Yeah,
who you are, and expectations of your space. And I think that does go into expectations and boundaries that you have to set. And it also touches on what you guys were saying. We really have to make sure that we are ready to be in a relationship, because even though we say, is there an epidemic? Why are we single? We have to do self-evaluation and work, because some people are in a different space where they are not wanting to be in a relationship because they're doing that whole self-help, self-care thing where they have to get themselves together. Like I said, we talk about finances a lot on here. So it's like, if your credit is jacked up, you are not financially stable, you should not be stepping to a man that already has his stuff together, expecting for him to bring you up. It's like, get those things together before you step into that I want a relationship space. And then you also have to look at, am I happy being single? And what is it going to take for somebody to come in and, let's say, be his peace? He needs to be my peace too. So if I already have peace here, if I'm going to say I'm going to allow you in this space, I have to be ready for all the things that come with it. And I think that's really important, because you and I can relate. Being a single woman who lives alone, we expect from the time that we wake up to the time that we go to sleep, we do certain things a certain way in our house. And we expect for them to be a certain way. If I leave my house and come back, I know it's going to be exactly like I left it, because nobody's going to mess that up. And it may seem small, it may seem petty, but if you bring somebody into your space and you start having to go through those that disarray of coming home and things not being how you expected, now you have unnecessary turmoil, because in reality, was I really ready to let him come into my space? And so that is why also I say, hopefully, my plan is that I don't move in, or that I don't live with my spouse until I am engaged. I don't want to cohabitate just for fun, because I've been there, done that, and it didn't work out. So not a fan of that at all. So another piece of that we have to think about also, if we say, are we ready? And we make the decision to say, I'm going to step out of that space. I'm ready to not be single. I think I've met Mr. Fantastic or not. I think people have to be willing and ready to put in the work of a relationship. The work. But what's the thing Nikisha told us once, that people want the end game of a relationship, but they don't want to put in what it takes to get it started. So let's talk about that.
And what's funny is that me and my sister had a conversation about a friend earlier today, and we were talking about how everybody looks at what it appears to be, like, oh, I can't wait to say I have a husband, or I can't wait to say that I have a fiance, or post X, Y, and Z, because we're so, navigated in life by social media or outward
Right.
appearance.
What's that
Right.
meme say? I can't wait to get a husband so I can husband y'all to death.
Exactly. And that's the exact thing. And it's like, I know for me, before I got in a relationship, and it's not to say that it's perfect, because, you know,
A work in progress
absolutely,
always.
all of it is, you know, and you're learning yourself. But I know I took time out to date myself, essentially, to kind of see, like, what role did I play in previous relationships that did not work out?
Yeah.
You know,
Bishop talks about that a lot, that self-evaluation.
Absolutely.
Honestly, what did I do for this not to work?
And then it's like, and most times it's like people are so quick to play the blame game. Like, that relationship didn't work out because they did.
They, yeah.
Or, and we never look in the mirror and say, well, what did I contribute to that not working? And so I took the time to do that with a very long relationship that had ended. And I had, like, secluded myself to just do some reflecting. And then later, I call it my serial dating phase.
Yes, the best part of life.
Some people call it the whole phase.
Right.
However you want to call it. But, you know, at that point, it was me getting back not only out into the world of trying to figure out what it is in a man that I want at this place in life, but also realizing what I did not want anymore, or what I would not want to settle for, or what I could not tolerate.
Yep.
And so I got to a point where it's like, I'm tired, you know, like, this is tiring, you
Exhausting.
know, and I'm an energy person, so you just take on so much when you put yourself in that place. So if you don't know exactly what it is that you're willing to come to the table with, and what you want that other person to bring, then you're gonna be exhausted. You're gonna be tired. And some people just like, you know what, I don't want to put that kind of effort into it. I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be in a relationship because it's easier for me to just be with me.
Yeah.
You know?
It is.
And like Courtney said, like, we all want that companionship at some point, but some people, they will not, you know, you don't want to stay up mad at somebody, or talk through a difficult situation, or deal with family issues, or, you know, even being with people when they suffer a loss.
Yeah.
You know? And those are the hard things that people do not want to work
They
through.
tap
And they be
out.
like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
I thought I wanted a man, but no, I'm straight. You know, I'll just deal with those that I talk to when I want to. And I'm done.
Or you get into it and you think that you want to do that, but then say you do suffer a loss, and they're like, man, you know, you can't call your sister. You know,
Absolutely.
it's like, what?
The dating pool can be discouraging.
Absolutely.
It can be discouraging.
And then that's on both sides. And it's like, I could kind of see, you know, how men would be like, well, I don't want to deal with her because she has these set of rules. Like, you know, it's always rules when it comes to women having expectations. And
They
it's
call it
not
rules,
that, because you as a man can have those same expectations
Right,
of
as
me.
you should.
Please have expectations of me.
Yeah.
'Cause
If you don't, that's a problem.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, it's a relationship. It's us, and it's not
partnership.
me having rules and you following them.
Right, it's not.
Who wants that?
Right.
You can have a kid or a dog for that
To do
kind
that,
of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
want to raise somebody, I can
So,
go have a child.
You know, it's like every relationship, friendship, family, it all takes you wanting to put that work in.
Absolutely.
Because it's not going to be great by itself if you just sit there and look at it.
Not
you know?
at all.
So
I think another thing to add to that, and even prior to getting to dating someone, and is the whole connection piece. Especially when you're out dating and you're single, I can know in about 5 minutes of talking to a guy if this is going to work out.
That's a gift.
Or if it's not. And sometimes, you know, you don't want to go past that part. You're like, this is it. And then other times you're just like, okay, well, maybe we can be friends, because I feel like being friends is the foundation of any successful relationship and marriage. And I've had a guy tell me one time, well, I have enough friends, so we don't need to be friends. Okay, well, you're cool. You're great. You go right ahead. Thank you. Next. But it's really important. And I think a lot of the times we get caught up in going out for free meals and taking advantage of a guy, even though we know we don't really see anything in them.
Right.
And to me, the way my conscience is set up, I can feed myself. I'm not going to use you to go out for free meals. We're past that, especially when
At
you
our
hit
age.
30 plus.
Don't have the time.
You don't have the time. And not only that, but, you know, you just really want to build something that's genuine,
And
especially
solid.
when you do find someone. You don't want that whole thing to come back where you're like, okay, this is it. I finally found him, and now he using you for a free meal. You know, and people don't think about that.
Karma
you know?
came
Like,
back
that karma
home.
came and
I
circled right
invested
back
on the
around.
finances, so you got me?
Right. So, that's a big piece for me. That connection piece is extremely important.
And with connections, it is important that you have that with somebody. But say in the beginning, and I think I've been here before, where you may not feel like you initially connect with the person, or say they aren't as physically attractive as you would like them to be. Do you keep trying at it? Do you say, well, let me go on a couple of more dates and try to get to know them. Let me try to, just put a little bit more effort into it to see, because I've been in that position before where somebody was not my 6 that I always talk about. I say I'm never going lower than a 6. And I have been there where I felt like, he seems like a nice guy, but he's not as attractive. Or say if they are attractive, but we aren't really connecting. Do you put more effort into that?
I have.
Okay, speak to it.
So I did give a chance to one guy just to see where it would go. And just to give it a chance, because they always say you married a person that you never thought you would marry in regards to appearance, personality, all of that.
Okay.
So, when I got to that point where I went through my little spiritual journey and came out on the other end expecting completely different for myself and of others, it was, okay, let me give this guy a chance. And when it didn't work out, I think one of the pieces that kind of hurt him is the fact that the whole time he still felt engaged with me as this is going to be something, where I was still trying to treat it like a friendship to see where it went. And when it was just like, no, this is going to always be friends, he took it like, well, I thought we had something. And even though I was very clear, like, this is friends, I want to get to build something friendship wise with you. And if it continues from that point, then great. It's some people don't see that. They see,
why was he confused?
I don't know why he was confused. But I made it very clear. And he was like, I even cut my hair for you. I was helping you out when I told you to cut your hair.
So you told him to cut his hair?
He had like a little afro. He like a little temptation. So I said, cut your hair. You don't have to walk around with that afro. Either do something with it, lock it up, or cut it off. But, so it was just one of those things where it just went too far. So I don't know. Maybe it was something I could have done better. I took it as a learning experience for me. And
so you did try to go past the initial point of it not being a connection.
Yeah, that shit.
Would you do it again? You said you wouldn't do it again. Would you do it again?
I would do it again. I would do it again, but I would also just make sure that we're both looking at it as friends. Like, we are friends. This is friends. We're friends.
Friends.
We're friends. And
you're saying that when it comes to being single, if you encounter somebody and the connection is not there, the physical attraction is there, that you would not pursue it still as possibly a relationship. It will be only a friendship.
Well, if I know, because, sometimes you could just sit across from somebody and y'all talking and you're like, hell no.
Okay, yeah.
But if it's something where it's just like, I had a good conversation with him. He seems like a real cool dude. This could be something. I'm not saying that it is, but it could be. And I would like to still be friends with you. Then yes, I would still pursue it and see where it goes.
I got a question. Have you ever tossed somebody back into the friend zone, and then you look on Facebook or social media and see they're like engaged and married and flourishing and happy in a relationship? Do you ever jump back and be like, damn, did I jump the gun on throwing that one back too soon?
Nope.
You said that with confidence.
Nope.
Tell us why.
Every single, I'm very firm. I think with a lot of women, we already break up in our mind with men. We talk about
before
this
the
all the time.
relationship
Before
ends.
It's already up.
Yeah.
So before I even decide to toss somebody back, I tossed you back a long time ago. It's just like, okay, how will I break this to you without it being rude or hurt your feelings in the least amount of way that I can? How can I get this over with so we can move forward? So no, I have not. I'd be like, cool.
You know what? Loneliness is a mofo. And the biggest, I'm telling you from experience, watch, as soon as you post new bae, new boo,
Girl.
the DMs are popping.
Yeah.
They do.
Men
fail.
It brings back nostalgia.
And it's always
Yeah.
people that you like, well, damn, you tossed me back to the friend zone a long time ago.
Yeah.
But now I'm the one that got away.
Yeah. It's always that way.
So you couldn't see my potential, but now someone else has.
And so it
now
has you second guessing and
Yeah.
thinking about what my potential was.
I always wonder that, because I'm gonna be honest. Before I got married, I'd be like, damn. I mean, he was corny, but maybe sis also might. You know what I'm saying? Let me go back. Maybe he grew up. And I jumped the gun.
Yeah.
And I missed out.
So before you got married, you was
know.
feeling like you might have missed out.
Because loneliness is something else. But it took me a while of the whole dating myself, like Nikisha said. Like, when I first met my husband, like, we had just crossed and life was good. We was in these streets.
Yeah.
I was living my absolute best life.
Yeah.
And he met me at my happiest.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's when God places people or just whatever the universe aligns itself.
Right. As soon as you start that serial dating phase.
Yeah. As soon as you out here, like, yes, I can do this. I got a good 5 years of running these streets. And you're like, yeah, not so soon, Buttercup. Yeah. let me take you back and put you back on the bench.
Yeah, grasshopper.
For you. But I always kind of felt like for years I had fallen in love with being single and being a serial dater.
Right.
I dated beneath my potential, so it wouldn't go anywhere on purpose.
Okay.
So I could stay single.
And that's different.
You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
so
you
wouldn't
put
get
yourself
attached
in that box, and then when you let them linger for too long, you're like, why does keep happening to me?
Yeah.
And then you have to go back like, you know what? You weren't really worth it in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just looking for something to do, and I did it too long.
Yeah. And you went too far.
You went too far.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, once you clean up that part of the perspective of like, why am I even entertaining these
Foolishness.
dates for dinners or for meals or for company or to just fill these gaps and holes that I have and start dating for your potential, dating with a purpose. It changes.
And it makes dating with a purpose is so meaningful. And also it goes back to what you said, potential. I'm a firm believer at this point that I can do nothing with potential. And I think as single women, we have to realize that. I feel like we can all potentially be millionaires, but we are not. We can all try to speak that into existence, but we are not. So I think that you have to be okay. And we kind of talked about this on the dead weight episode. You have to think about where that guy or where that woman is right now, where they are financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. Physically is probably the easiest thing that they can change in losing or gaining weight. Right. But anything else you have to look at, if your man right now, present day, the position or woman that they are in, if they are in that position forever, are you okay with being there? Are you okay with being with them? So if they are a person that it doesn't fix your pillows and they never do, and they've made it clear that they aren't, are you okay with them doing that forever? If they are a person that is in their career, they're very stagnant and don't want to advance, are you okay with being there? If they are a person that does not do anything for growth mentally or spiritually, are you okay with being there forever? Because I think that if we look at potential, we absolutely are looking into the future. And right now, I don't think that any of us have the ability to predict the future. Yeah. So the only thing that we can do is what is going on right now. So I think that as single women, and I know for myself as a single woman, I cannot live off of a man's potential. I think that we have to look at, again, where they are right now and get it. There are things that we all have to work on. And you talk about those things, and that goes into communication, which we're going to get into, of course, at some point. But I think that you communicate what it is that you want. You communicate what it is that you need. And you talk about, can that man provide it now or very soon? Meaning like it's already a work in progress. It's something that he's shown you a glimpse of. Oh yeah, he's working on that. It's coming, but to say what he can potentially be, I can't do anything with that. What do you guys think?
Right. Or if they say, well, no, I'm not like that now, but when I get in a relationship, yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh, I have heard that.
I need to see a sample. Sir.
That is trash.
Show me now.
Like when I get a girl, I don't play the game that much.
Yeah. Or my favorite, texting during meals. When I'm in a relationship, I don't need for me to have no phone at the table.
Yeah. Well, and then you upset.
Let's pretend today. Let's pretend.
Absolutely. Yes, we have heard all those things. So I think that you have to be able to look at those things and then communicate. I think communication when it comes to being single, that's, I think, in the top 5 reasons why many people are single. Or communication on both sides. Communicating your expectations, boundaries, wants, and needs up front. And also being able to communicate early and often what it is that you want and need in that relationship, because your needs are going to change. They change from day to day, month to month. So I think that we have to look at, what are my expectations of this guy? And even in a dating phase,
So, and to piggyback on communication, I think why some women are not in a relationship or scared to be single is because if something isn't working, or if they don't agree with something that's going on in the relationship, they have a fear of speaking up for a fear of being single.
Fear overall.
Fear runs so many relationships into the ground, or prevents so many good relationships from happening. And it's like, if you do not speak up on what's causing angst for you, or what you feel is tearing down a relationship, and nobody is saying anything about it, then you're operating on a relationship in fear, and it's not going to grow. It's going to stay exactly where it is
and go nowhere.
You're going to have insecurities, or he's going to keep doing these things, and you're like oh, God is getting on my nerves. He's making me sick. I don't like him every day. And you're not letting him know, hey, this is what I need, or this is what I need right now, and what can we do to make this happen?
Right. And I think that with fear, you operate. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
You're fine.
Someone said to me once, you do things in life out of fear or out of love. And you never want to be in a relationship with somebody and you're operating out of fear.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to take you nowhere really fast. But I think that we do things out of fear. I've been guilty of doing things in a relationship, committing to someone too soon, allowing them to move in too soon, allowing them to not step up to the plate like they were supposed to, because I feared that he would leave. And I would be alone.
Absolutely.
And it's like, what I've realized now, and as I've gotten older, is that I operate at a very high level with high expectations in every other place in my life, with my friendships, with my family, with my career. So it's like, why when it comes to a man in a relationship, someone who I would spend most of my time with, that I am operating out of a place of fear? I thank God for growth and vision and everything else, that I was able to release him into his destiny.
Yes.
Because had I known now what I knew then, I would never have been afraid of shit.
Absolutely.
But we do, but that's where we go. We operate out of that fearful place.
And passive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Or the just the whole system of what a woman is supposed to be, and modeling yourself, that whole thing of being wifey type, being wifey material. Let me tell y'all, and I feel like I try to always be transparent, with all my friends about marriage. Like, be careful with what you ask for, because it's a long ass journey. And be careful with the compromises, because like you have your list. Trust, he got one too. And he's gonna ask for some things.
But it may not be when you ask.
It may not be when you ask.
It may come down. I didn't think about that. It may come 5 years later.
Absolutely.
He may be cool, settling for, okay, I'm gonna let you go on your trips. I'm gonna let you do your little thing or whatever. And okay, physique, you good. Marriage is a long run. Kids, life, stress happens. What happens when his list comes into play? Of what about this? What about that? And so I think for some women, it's like playing the wifey type is draining without the results. Like, you do that, and then if you don't get a ring or if you don't get something out of it, you're like, you know what? I don't have time. I play that game for somebody else. And to be honest, before I got married, I felt I was being single because I ended up being prep boo. Prep boo for so many guys.
Like, you were preparing a man for the next one.
Been there.
Prep boo.
I got you ready for the next
one.
Right.
You're
better after you left me.
You couldn't commit. We couldn't make something work.
Right.
But I look, and Facebook status changed and rings and everything. And so you're like, okay, well, you know what? Let me just stay to myself. Let me work on me. Let me build my brand. Let me build me. All these things. The team of me becomes an effect, and it's safer being single. Because what Nikisha said, energies. If I'm taking in all of your energies and I'm expending all of my energies, what's left for me?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And I think,
and then that's where resentment comes in.
I hate all y'all.
and if you are walking around being resentful, if you are, before you get into a relationship, if you keep having these encounters with men that are negative, where we are prep boo, or we are operating out of fear, or we are just afraid, then I think that also leads to, when we do get close to someone, we also want to start to be controlling. And I think we want to try to control the narrative.
That's a whole word.
Girl.
And I know I've heard men say that word to me, and I've been like, tell me, how am I controlling? And unfortunately, they could never really communicate, in a very clear manner what that meant. But you get the idea that also, because you are afraid, you try to control the outcome, because you sometimes don't want to compromise. You try to control what it is that they're asking you to do, or how you are moving in the relationship. And I think that if we operate from a place where we are not willing to just at some point relinquish control, that
just live, that's the hardest part. When you are trying to come up out of singledom, Lord, where you control the days, the nights, the hours, you control the flow of everything, and allowing somebody else to even remotely have a piece of that is terrifying.
Absolutely.
Because I can always control me and how things move in my world, but now here you come. And you so damn unpredictable. And sometimes inconsistent. And inconsistencies will keep you single.
They will.
It sure will.
I'm telling you, you like, wait, what?
So when you say inconsistencies, do you mean in regards to a man coming along before the relationship and what they're supposed to do? Or are you saying once you get into it?
I mean, even just observing the men around you, because a lot of times you date from people you know, or from people that know other people, and having those conversations, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No, your life is just, you say you this type of person,
but
the actions ain't lining up.
Yeah, it's not lining up. Absolutely. Definitely, inconsistencies on both sides of it. I think that men and women both have to hold up the bargain when it comes to how consistent you are and what you say. You have to, that goes back to the communication. You have to be a man or a woman of your word. Do what you say you are going to do. If you have made some sort of commitment, or you're looking at me as a person that you're going to potentially make this commitment with, you have to be able to be consistent. And communicating is a huge part of it. And I think
builds security.
Yeah. And you definitely need that in order to even have a desire to exit out of the singledom. If you are not, if you don't feel secure with that man, then there's no way that you're going to do it. And I think that if you get in that position, you also, I think what you have to control as well when it comes to the control factor is not being a victim or a partaker in the blame game. And what I mean by that is the niggas ain't shit. And, it's their fault. They only want the hoes. I'm too good, I think when we start to get into that role, I think that's a very childish mentality to have. But I think that there are still a lot of women who haven't. They really feel like they've been scarred or whatever the case may be. We've all had bad experiences with a man. Absolutely. And we know, we are fortunate, I think, in our positions that we have learned from those experiences. But I think that there are still a lot of single women who do not own, like we said, that self-evaluation of what did I do? We cannot blame the man for everything that's happened in a relationship or that's gone wrong.
But in the blame game, it's like you can meet this person and say you want to date them or you want to have this relationship. Well, you never allow them to show you exactly who they are, what they said they're going to bring to the table. You don't give them a chance because we're always saying, well, 5 niggas before you, did this, and this, and you're going to do the same thing. We don't, and us as women, we hate to be compared to an ex. You don't want to be compared to an ex. You don't want to be compared to a sister, mother, cousin, anybody like that. And so it's like, we should allow them the same respect. So when it comes to the blame game, it's like you have to be able to take ownership of what you said that you want out of a relationship, but also with what you're going to allow that person to show you. Like you said, relinquish control. You can't control what that man is going to bring into this relationship.
Not at all. You can hope.
Yeah, and it's, and all that ties back into the fear aspect of it, because it's like, I don't want to be alone. So once he comes in and he says he wants to be in a relationship with me, well, I'm going to say this, this, and this, and this to keep him from doing X, Y, and Z.
And sometimes we say, okay, we aren't even ready. I've been in that situation where they come in.
What about not being ready or feeling like you don't have the time? I don't have time for a relationship. My life is full.
Or I don't want to
busy.
I don't want to start all over. I don't want to learn his favorite color, what he like to eat, and
where he like to go.
Yeah, like I don't want to find out your favorite hobby and then try to compromise on if I want to sit through a baseball game with you or not.
Yeah.
It's real though. It's
that's
like I don't know if I really want to go through that, especially after you come out of a long-term relationship and you know someone to a T. You know them better than they know themselves, and then it's like, okay, now that's over with, and now I got to jump back in here. And do I really have the energy for that?
Yeah.
But, that goes into the healing piece of it all when you get out of a relationship.
Yeah.
And a lot of women sometimes make the mistake of jumping into the next relationship because they're afraid of being lonely when we talk about fear. And instead of taking that time back to really just reevaluate who you are, what you want, what hurt you, healing past that hurt, and then just deciding, okay, so going forward, this is what I need to do next go round to make sure that I'm not put in the same position, because you'll keep learning the same lessons until you get the point. So I think a lot of us get caught up in shifting to the next relationship, and that can hurt us, because if you can't be with yourself and enjoy your own company, then why would I want to sit and be with you if you don't want to be with yourself?
Exactly.
I don't think a lot of women look at it.
You don't need to be alone.
Right, like you don't even like yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so
and I think that's the self-worth. Women really have to sit and think about that, because when people say, you know, do you really like yourself? Do you like to really sit with yourself? I don't think people really dig into that, to what that means. You know, it's not just saying, okay, I live alone, because you can live alone and still not really, you know, you sit up and watch Netflix all day, but do you really enjoy when you have to spend time with yourself? Do you take care of yourself? Do you do things for yourself? Do you care enough about yourself to take care of your temple, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So
I think that goes into the whole wholeness piece. Everybody says, you know, this person completes me. And I feel like you are setting yourself up for failure when you enter into a relationship expecting somebody to complete you. It's not two halves that come together that make a whole. It's two whole people coming together to make one another better. And when you come into a relationship with your glass half empty, expecting the other person to pour into you and make you full.
Yes.
If they, in fact, are not the one that God has sent for you, you're going to be empty all over again. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to leave with less than what you came into in the first place.
They will deplete you.
So I think that, you know, me, of course, I love God or whatever. Your wholeness needs to start there.
Yeah.
Because until you meet the one, if you do serial date, or if you are just bleeding for a relationship, that blood and that hurt is going to attract sharks. Sharks sniff out blood. And you're just setting yourself up to repeat the same pattern over and over and over again. I personally have always been a loner. I love being by myself. I can be by myself. I can be with people. I can be in a relationship. I don't have to be in a relationship. I spend tons of time alone. And even when I'm not hurting, it's still healing for me, because there's things I can meditate on. I can talk to God about. You know, I can journal, I can do whatever, and I'm okay with it. And not just am I okay with it, but I actually love it. I'll take myself to the movies. I'll take myself to dinner. Go get my nails done. Go work out. Whatever the case may be. So if I'm going to be with someone, that person doesn't have the expectation placed on them that I'm looking for you to make me whole. If you're going to be here, then you need to be better than my solitude.
Yep, absolutely.
And,
I love it.
And also, you don't have to be my peace, because I'm peaceful without you. Just don't disturb it.
Just don't disturb it. That's the new meme.
Just don't
Just
disturb
don't disturb
my
it. You are so right, because we talk about that where women are single and they're looking for a man to complete them, and that's almost impossible. You have to bring, it's like a puzzle. You put in the pieces together to make you guys come together. But with the puzzle, all the pieces are whole. They are themselves. And I think that makes a whole lot of sense, that as single women, we have to keep that in mind. Because if not, like you said, if you go in and you're looking at your glass is half full and you want him to fill it up, many times you will leave depleted. Because especially if it's the wrong person, they are going to take from you. They are going to take everything that they can. It's like a leech. Whatever they can get, they are going to take. And if you allow it, if you are not ready, if you are not prepared, you won't even know how to handle it, and you're gonna leave worse than when you came.
I know another thing too is when we go through that spiritual journey or that healing process, I know a lot of people don't know how to completely remove the distractions. And when I say distractions, that means you don't go back to an old hoe and see what he doing. Or you don't go and find everybody you can have sex with. You know, you're supposed to take away all of that. I know when I took away all of that and just focus solely on me, all of my expectations prior to were completely different on the other end coming out of it. Like how I looked at myself, how I looked at my expectations, how I looked at the people and the type of men that I was into. Like the type of men I'm into now, I was never into prior to me
the taste definitely changed.
I mean, things changing. That's not because I'm getting older, because you know, like, oh, you're getting older now, so now you're trying to relax in your ways. Like, no, I'm a completely different person, so I require a completely different person. You know, so that's a big piece for me.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on what Court was saying about the type of men that she found herself drawn to before her journey versus afterwards, and kind of just pick back up on the point that we made earlier, or the topic of would you put more effort if you weren't attracted to a man, but you know, you thought maybe it could go somewhere. The older that I get, the more I understand that looks are great, but they are the icing on the cake. They are not the cake itself. And I'm almost 40, and I'm seeing now that what's important to me more so than the icing on the cake is what's underneath it. In other words, what's inside that
the
man.
Ingredients.
I can be, and don't get me wrong now, I don't want no booger wolf, but sis does have standards. But if I can connect with a man, if a man can push me closer to God, if he can make me laugh, if he has principles that say that he embodies integrity, I can overlook certain things that are physical, because at the end of the day, the icing ain't gonna hold your hand when you sick. The icing ain't gonna be there for you when you pregnant and throwing up in the toilet and your face is swollen and your nose is across your face.
And the icing always comes off. Don't it slide off?
Especially when it get hot. When it get hot, it slide off and it melts.
So those looks fade.
It disappears.
That icing fades.
So I could compromise on the looks somewhat, but what I'm learning is that it really is about the substance.
Yeah,
on the inside. Who are you as a person?
And most people say, like you said, when you get older, they think that you become lax. No, your priorities just rearrange.
Yes.
So everything that you always want in a companion or relationship or a husband or wife for the men, it does not change per se, but like, say if you was like, oh, he gotta be 6'5", he gotta drive this car,
he gotta be light skinned, he gotta be named Klay Thompson.
Absolutely. It may not be that as your priority. You may still I may want a man that has a little height on him. No matter what the height is, he has to own a car or paying one off. He has to have transportation to get to his job every day. But it may not be what's important. I need someone who is honest with themselves, because if you're not honest with you can't be honest with me.
Absolutely.
You need to have someone that's going to, like I tell my boyfriend, you add to my happiness. I never tell him you make me happy.
Yes.
Because
I like that.
Happy.
Speak it how it is.
And so those are the things. And it's funny is that we bounce those things off each other. You want someone who's going to add to your growth.
And tell you stuff like that. I think verbally, you shouldn't be the only one telling him you add to my happiness, but he's never saying it.
Absolutely. I got a question with that. So, just playing a little devil's advocate here. Okay. What percentage of women do you think are single because they're looking for a man to take care of them?
A high percentage.
A girl, more than 60, 70%.
Certain type of woman.
I think 40-50% of women want that. They want a man to take care of them.
Yes, because it's like,
so you will wait and single them.
I think women will. I said the cat.
Pay my bills, do all these things. Like,
we're talking about husbands or boyfriends.
Well, period. Partners.
Like I'm single because you can't.
I think about 40% of women want a man to come in and go half on these bills.
I think even more want somebody to come in and pay them. Period.
Yeah, and
I want you to basically allow me to kind of put my feet up and have kids.
But that's part of another reason why we are single, because a lot of us are impossible to please. We're impossible. We're talking about the things that we're okay with and the things that, we've shifted our mind to look into. But then you still have those women out there that are looking for a guy. And if his shoes are dusty looking, they're like, oh, I don't really, not necessarily dusty. If they're dusty, that's probably a problem. But if, now that I'm thinking about it, however, he could be a contractor, right? That's why I said possibly. That's why I said possibly. However,
shut him down.
But if his shoes are talking, that's a problem. But if it is like Dusty, or if he might not have on the type of brand that you may like, you have some people that are like brand freaks. Like, oh, he had on some Dusty looking Nikes. Yeah, like, I don't like that. But you don't know, this man can have money. Not everyone puts all of their money into material things.
And he may get, and you ain't with a woman. I know women, you could clean them up if you want to.
That is correct. We can fix them up.
I worked at a Fortune 50 company, and the CEO, I never knew who he was because he always drove a beat up car. It was like a Toyota Tercel.
Yeah, he like garden.
Same Pink Floyd shirt, khakis, and Jesus sandals. And I'm like, why do they keep allowing this crazy man to go upstairs? And somebody was like, he owns the company, right? That's why I always preach about packaging.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can change the packs. It's like the icing.
That's
I can change it. Because if we get together, we make one another happy, we add to one another. Baby, let's work on this wardrobe. Let's work on this.
Yes.
I'm sure if he's the person for you, he's gonna be willing to listen to some of
But
it.
I'ma tell
That's
you
our
what.
compromise.
Yes.
His real rib ain't gonna care. She gonna say, that's my baby. I know he like his
Yup.
sandals.
Yup.
I know he like his beat up car.
Yup.
That's what
Right.
makes him happy.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna accept him for what he is. He's brilliant. He's amazing. He's all these things.
Cake.
And that may be the
Not
distraction
icing.
that keeps all these other
We
hoes
just said
away
some.
from him. Right, because they think he's not worth it, but I see the value in all
All
of that
of
shit.
it.
And you're right,
Yup.
impossible to please.
Yeah,
Because you have a
impossible
woman
to please.
that married that one, got that, what, Bezos' ex-wife now,
Yep.
got that check. She was there before Amazon started.
Yep.
And he probably had all those features, but she got, she got the benefit.
She was like,
but
that's-
impossible to please, it comes down to that. That may be true.
You know what? I wouldn't necessarily say that means you're impossible to please. I think that goes back to communication, because for every woman that wants a man to take care of her and pay her bills, it's some old school men out here that's like, I want to be that man, but I also want my food cooked and I want my house clean.
True.
I want sex every night and I want you to look good doing it to me.
And I think,
Yeah.
to some extent, there's nothing wrong with that. I think ultimately I can say this. I don't know about doing that right now, but say if I did come into a situation where the man is going to pay for everything, where he says, I don't have to work if I do not want to. I think if he's going to do that, I should not have a problem with keeping the house clean,
Amen.
with cooking, with taking care of the kids. I think that's, I don't know about sex every night, but I think that it is much
open,
easier.
sis.
Yeah, not busting it wide open every
Yeah,
night.
listen.
But I think that it is much easier to have that conversation with someone who is paying the bills versus if you do have another situation where you are contributing to the bills and you are still being asked to do all of those things and he is doing none.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
conversation.
Absolutely.
And when we're talking about impossible to please, real quick, some of those people don't even get to the point to get to that, to
Yeah.
get to the
Yeah.
point of saying, you know what, he's doing all of the bills and he's paying this and he's taking care of me, so I'll just take care of all of the home items. Like, they don't get to that point. They're too busy judging the overall exterior
Yes.
before
External,
they
that
can
physical.
figure out everything else. So
Exactly.
That icing.
No, you good.
you know, it plays a role though. We talked about this earlier. Knowing what things you can compromise for, not just for now, but can I still compromise on those things 5-10 years down the line?
That potential.
Communication.
Sounds like that
You know,
potential and communication.
You can be like, I can compromise on you not, wanting to dress, and then 5 years down, and you got all these promotions, and you are really living your purpose.
Yeah.
And he want to show up with that same
With Jesus sandals on.
Yeah, Jesus sandals and a Goodwill suit. And you're like, I can't keep explaining you every time you show up. I can't keep giving disclaimers.
Yeah.
Like, yo, he's not on
tired.
meth. He's not on meth. He's brilliant.
Yeah. But no one believes you.
It's funny something,
Exactly.
I kind of look at this like whenever Megan Berry will be out with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I used to look and be like, this is a very odd couple.
Yeah.
And then when she had an affair, I said, okay.
Okay.
Because the bodyguard was fine, wasn't he not?
Yeah.
The bodyguard was a little hottie.
And listeners, Megan Berry's the former mayor of Nashville.
That was caught up in the scandal. And
Yeah,
cheated on
Google
her.
her.
husband. Yeah. She's living her best life now. She's unbothered. But,
Right.
yes.
It really does
Yeah.
go back to communication in the beginning. And you said something very valuable earlier. You said, what happens when he comes with his list? And I think that some of the mistakes that I have made in my past concern my own list. Like, I've literally had a man tell me, I was putting you through tests to see, like, like...
You were putting
if
him through
you-
tests, or he was putting you through tests?
No, what he said was, I had little checkpoints to see, like, how far we could go. And every time a situation arose, you will always pass the test, and that is what helped us to graduate to the next level. And it took me years to figure out, like, I didn't have my own list for you.
So he had his own expectations, boundaries, and lists, and you didn't even have one to back it up.
Yes, and you want to know why? Because I was just happy to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Happy to be in the building.
Yes. Yes. And so, it took me a long time to figure out, like, okay, this shit is going downhill. And I always could hear him say that in the back of my mind. Like, I had a list, and, you passed every test and met all of my check marks and this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I never had a list. I never made my boundaries clear to you from the beginning. And when my boundaries started getting crossed and disrespected, instead of saying, hey, here's my list, I chose to turn my other head, turn my head turn my cheek. And that shit is fucking dangerous.
It is. Very dangerous.
The moment you don't have a list as a woman and you don't have boundaries is the moment that you're setting yourself up to be somebody's doormat.
Absolutely.
Because anything goes if you don't have boundaries.
Yeah.
Doors are there for a reason. Windows are there for a reason. Locks on a house are there for a reason.
For a very good reason.
Yes. So
I think it's essential. Have a list.
Communicate it up front and
early and
don't
often.
Date potential. Don't marry it either. Because
Not
you'll
at
end up
all.
wasting a whole bunch of fucking time.
We are now introducing a new segment to the podcast. This is called Living Single. We want you guys to send in any of your relationship questions, if you need advice, or if you just want to give feedback on the show on a topic that we've discussed. Feel free to DM them on Instagram to Shanna Montana, or you can inbox me on Facebook, Living Single, and we'll definitely be touching on these topics on each episode going forward. I know. Right when it ended, it was getting super good. But you guys have to stay tuned because there is a part 2 to the series that is being released next Monday. So in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to leave you guys with the Montana Minute. The first thing, relationships are what you make them. You get what you give. And if you don't, it may be time for you to reevaluate the relationship or get out. Number 2, communication is key. You have to talk about any and everything early and often. And the last thing, don't jump into a relationship unless you know you are absolutely ready to do so. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of the series, and until part 2, I leave you to decide to be single or not to be. Until next time, signing off, Shanna Montana.